Dear viewers, what if I told you there's a mysterious object weighing nearly half a ton, crafted from ultra-durable metal, and it's now barreling towards Earth, completely out of control? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this is no fiction. The object in question is Kosmos 482, a long-forgotten Venus probe launched by the Soviet Union in 1972. During the height of the Cold War, when the United States and the Soviet Union were battling for supremacy not just on Earth but in space as well, this spacecraft was intended to reach our neighboring planet, Venus. But things didn't go as planned. Instead of making history with a soft landing on the harsh Venusian surface, Kosmos 482 suffered a critical malfunction and ended up stranded in Earth's orbit, a silent, drifting monument to an era of intense scientific rivalry. For more than 50 years, Kosmos 482 has been circling our planet like a ghost ship in space, largely forgotten by the world. But now, this metallic relic is making headlines once again. Experts are sounding the alarm. The spacecraft, which weighs about as much as a small car, is expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere sometime this week. And the most unsettling part? No one knows exactly where it will come down. A wide range of possible impact zones has been outlined, and among them is our own homeland, Vietnam. So, if in the coming days you happen to witness a bright, mysterious object streaking across the sky, don't stick around. Could very well be Kosmos 482 returning in an uncontrolled descent. This leads us to a more pressing question. What exactly is Kosmos 482? Could it pose hidden dangers like radiation or explosive remnants from its onboard systems? To answer that, we need to delve into the history of this spacecraft and understand the perilous mission it was designed for. If you've ever looked up at the early morning or evening sky and spotted a bright, twinkling object low on the horizon, you may have seen Venus. Often referred to as the morning star or the evening star, Venus is the second planet from the Sun, orbiting at an average distance of about 108 million kilometers. With a diameter of approximately 12,104 kilometers, Venus is only slightly smaller than Earth, earning it the nickname Earth's twin sister. But the similarities end there. Beneath those shining white clouds lies a nightmarish world. The atmospheric pressure on Venus is crushing, 92 times greater than that of Earth's, capable of flattening a submarine. The surface temperature? A blistering 470 degrees Celsius, hotter than Mercury, even though Venus is farther from the Sun. To make matters even stranger, a day on Venus lasts longer than its year. One full rotation on its axis takes 243 Earth days, while its orbit around the Sun takes only 225 Earth days. These bizarre characteristics have made Venus one of the most fascinating and challenging destinations for space exploration. Back in the Cold War era, outer space became more than a scientific frontier. It was a symbolic battleground for national pride. The race to explore Venus was intense, driven by the desire to outshine the opponent in technology, innovation, and geopolitical prestige. The Soviet Union and the United States both set their sights on this hostile planet, hoping to unlock its secrets and stake their claim in the cosmos. The Soviet Union's attempts to reach Venus began with the Venera program. In 1961, Venera 1 was launched, marking humanity's first attempt at an interplanetary mission. Though it lost contact en route, it paved the way for future endeavors. The United States responded with the Mariner 2 mission, which in 1962 flew by Venus and collected valuable atmospheric data from a distance of 34,833 kilometers. Refusing to fall behind, the Soviet Union pressed on. In 1966, they launched Venera 3, which crash-landed on Venus, becoming the first man-made object to reach another planet, albeit without transmitting data. The real breakthrough came in 1967 when Venera 4 successfully entered Venus's atmosphere and transmitted data back to Earth, a significant milestone in space exploration. Momentum continued with Venera 7 in 1970. Despite tipping over on landing, the spacecraft managed to transmit signals from Venus's surface for 23 minutes, making it the first successful landing on another planet. In 1972, Venera 8 achieved further progress by measuring the sunlight penetrating Venus's dense atmosphere and reaching its surface. These missions were historic and groundbreaking, and they laid the groundwork for Kosmos 482. The Soviet engineers envisioned Kosmos 482 as a spacecraft that could go even further. Its mission was ambitious: to land on Venus and gather direct data on temperature, atmospheric pressure, magnetic fields, chemical composition, and geology. At that time, no other probe had accomplished such a feat. To withstand the planet's hellish environment, Kosmos 482 was built like a metallic tank. The lander module measured 1 meter in width and weighed nearly 495 kilograms. It was encased in thick titanium alloy, designed to endure the intense heat and pressure of Venus's atmosphere. With its hardened exterior and advanced instrumentation, Kosmos 482 was a marvel of Soviet engineering, poised to unlock the mysteries of Earth's twin. On March 31, 1972, the spacecraft was launched atop a Molniya 8K-78 rocket. The full setup consisted of two major components: an interplanetary vehicle to reach Venus and a lander designed for a soft descent onto the surface. The total launch mass was around 1.8 tons. The initial stages of the launch went smoothly. Kosmos 482 reached Earth orbit and successfully separated from its launch vehicle. Everything was going according to plan, until the final and most crucial step. For a spacecraft to leave Earth's orbit and head toward another planet, it must achieve a specific escape velocity through a final rocket burn. This final propulsion phase is critical. But for Kosmos 482, this stage failed. The booster that was supposed to propel the spacecraft out of Earth's gravitational grip never fired correctly. Whether due to a programming error or hardware failure, the result was disastrous. Kosmos 482 remained trapped in Earth's orbit. Without the proper trajectory, the spacecraft couldn't continue its mission to Venus. Instead, it broke into four main pieces while still in orbit. Two of these fragments, smaller and less durable, eventually re-entered Earth's atmosphere just 2 days later and crashed into New Zealand. The other two parts, including the heavy-duty lander, have remained in space, quietly circling the Earth for more than 5 decades. Now one of these fragments is returning. And this time it's not under control. Experts believe the remaining component, the Venus lander weighing nearly 500 kilograms, could plunge into Earth's atmosphere within days. Its tough titanium shell, built to survive Venus, could endure re-entry and strike the surface mostly intact. Depending on where it lands, the consequences could range from harmless to catastrophic. Authorities are closely monitoring its trajectory, but predictions remain uncertain. The spacecraft's orbit has decayed slowly over the years due to atmospheric drag, and it's now approaching the point of no return. The danger lies not just in its mass and velocity but also in its unpredictable landing site. With so many variables at play, pinpointing the exact time and location of re-entry is nearly impossible. Countries across the globe have been alerted, and Vietnam is one of the regions within the potential impact zone. In our next episode, we'll take a closer look at the current efforts to track Kosmos 482, what might happen upon its re-entry, and whether it poses any environmental or radioactive risks. We'll also explore what lessons humanity has learned from these early space missions and how they influence modern-day exploration. Stay tuned, because this decades-old ghost from the past may be making a fiery return, and the whole world is watching. Later on, pieces from the failed mission eventually slammed into the Earth, leaving deep impact marks in the ground. Fortunately and quite miraculously, no one was injured when the debris fell. These mysterious chunks of metal startled many who witnessed them falling, and naturally raised suspicion about their origin. But when an official investigation was launched to determine what exactly fell from the sky, the Soviet authorities firmly denied that the debris had anything to do with them. They publicly stated that it was not from the USSR, despite mounting evidence suggesting otherwise. It was the Cold War era after all. Meanwhile, the main body of Kosmos 482, the lander meant for Venus, remained stuck in orbit around Earth. It became just another dead satellite. It was no longer usable, completely uncontrollable, and totally impossible to retrieve. Built with an incredibly tough titanium-armored shell, the spacecraft was practically indestructible. So there it stayed, circling the planet silently and stubbornly since 1972. For more than 5 decades, Kosmos 482 has been drifting in Earth's orbit like a ghost from the past, a lasting witness to a technical failure that was never fully acknowledged, and a heavy reminder of the darker, more secretive side of space exploration. But now the silence is coming to an end. The story of Kosmos 482 isn't over yet. Its orbit is slowly decaying due to the constant pull of Earth's gravity and the friction of the upper atmosphere. Bit by bit, it's being pulled closer and closer to Earth. And now, after spending a staggering 53 years alone in space, Kosmos 482 is making an unexpected return. Only this time, it's not coming back in triumph. It's re-entering Earth's atmosphere in a way no one ever hoped for, a dangerous, uncontrolled fall that could have very real consequences. According to experts tracking the spacecraft, Kosmos 482 is expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere sometime during the second week of May 2025. The re-entry window spans just a few days, but the exact time and location remain uncertain. What makes the situation more concerning is the uncertainty surrounding where it will eventually land. Despite modern technology and orbital prediction systems, no scientist can say with precision where this half-ton piece of Soviet hardware will hit. And that unpredictability adds a layer of anxiety to an already tense situation. Estimates currently suggest that Kosmos 482 will make its fiery descent through Earth's atmosphere somewhere between May 8 and May 12, 2025. As it tears through the sky, it's expected to reach speeds of about 242 kilometers per hour, or roughly 67 meters per second. That's faster than the world's most extreme roller coasters. And unlike typical space debris which burns up during re-entry, Kosmos 482 has a terrifying advantage. It was specifically designed to survive the brutal environment of Venus. That means it was built to endure intense heat and crushing atmospheric pressure. To put that in perspective, this spacecraft was engineered to withstand temperatures of up to 450 degrees Celsius and atmospheric pressure 90 times higher than what we experience on Earth. That kind of durability makes it entirely possible that the spacecraft, or at least large parts of it, will survive re-entry and hit the ground mostly intact. Imagine a half-ton titanium object falling from the sky at insane speed, completely out of control. That's what we could be dealing with. If this were an asteroid, there'd be a good chance it would shatter or vaporize. But Kosmos 482 is made of ultra-durable materials designed to last. If we're lucky, the spacecraft might crash harmlessly into an ocean somewhere. That would be the best-case scenario. Alternatively, it might land in an uninhabited, remote area where no one lives, and that would be acceptable too. But the real danger is if it lands somewhere populated. A half-ton chunk of titanium crashing into a city could punch through rooftops, crack the pavement, or even injure, or worse, anyone in its path. It's not the kind of thing you want falling in your backyard. That's why space agencies around the world are watching closely, tracking Kosmos 482 hour by hour. From this point on, Kosmos 482 could begin its descent at any time. That's what makes the situation so tense. Despite all our satellites and tracking systems, we still can't say exactly where it will land. In fact, scientists have admitted that right now, no one can precisely pinpoint the spacecraft's final impact zone. And that's because the potential landing area is huge, staggeringly vast. It spans almost the entire planet. In other words, this isn't just a local concern. It's a global one, and it affects millions if not billions of people across the globe. Based on the latest calculations, Kosmos 482 could land anywhere between 52 degrees north and 52 degrees south latitude. This band wraps around much of the Earth, and if you were to look at a map, you'd see a huge orange zone stretching across both hemispheres. It includes nearly every continent. That means all of South America, the entire United States, most of Europe, all of Africa, Australia, and large parts of Asia are within the potential crash zone. Major cities like New York, London, Paris, Tokyo, and Beijing all fall within this wide area of risk. Even countries far from political hotspots, like Vietnam, are in this potential impact region. It might sound terrifying at first, but let's take a step back. The truth is, the probability of Kosmos 482 crashing into a populated urban area is extremely low. Statistically speaking, it's unlikely to pose any danger to human life. Why? Because around 70% of Earth's surface is covered by water, and much of the land area is also sparsely populated. Historically, most falling space debris ends up splashing harmlessly into oceans or deserts. So while the spacecraft's return is definitely worth monitoring, there's no reason to panic just yet. Still, experts are not taking any chances. Though the risk is low, it's not zero. That's why international space monitoring organizations are staying alert and updating their models constantly. If the trajectory begins to indicate that Kosmos 482 is heading toward a populated area, space agencies will issue emergency alerts to affected regions. If necessary, people may even be evacuated temporarily from high-risk zones. These precautionary steps are not based on fear but on the desire to keep people safe. Even if the odds are small, the consequences of a direct impact in a city are too serious to ignore. With all this talk of an old Soviet spacecraft crashing back to Earth, it's natural to wonder, could Kosmos 482 carry radiation? Could it explode on impact or cause a disaster like a miniature Chernobyl from the sky? The good news is that the answer is no. Although it was launched during the Cold War when many Soviet and American missions used nuclear-powered systems, Kosmos 482 was not one of them. It did not carry any nuclear reactor or radioactive fuel. Instead, it relied on standard chemical batteries and basic electrical components to power its instruments. And all those systems, those chemical batteries and electronic parts, ran out of power decades ago. There's no fuel left to explode, no radioactive material to leak, and no power source capable of causing widespread harm. So, while it may be a giant hunk of dangerous metal, it's not a nuclear threat. Kosmos 482 is more like a tumbling space relic, heavy and unpredictable, yes, but not poisonous or radioactive. That's an important distinction. It may be dangerous if it hits the ground, but it's not going to start a chain reaction or cause environmental fallout like a nuclear incident would. So, if one day soon, maybe even today, you look up and see a blazing streak of light shooting through the sky, don't be too quick to make a wish. That brilliant trail might not be a shooting star at all. It could be Kosmos 482, finally making its descent after more than half a century in orbit. A cold, metallic reminder of a bygone era, coming back to Earth as a symbol of the space age's bold ambition and hidden failures. This is not just debris, it's a ghost from the Cold War crashing back into modern times. Since the dawn of the space age in the late 1950s, humanity has launched thousands of satellites, probes, and exploratory missions into space. Many of them fulfilled their missions and were celebrated as triumphs. But just as many failed, fell silent, or were forgotten. And now, decades later, their remains still drift through space. Kosmos 482 is just one example. A lonely satellite from a secretive mission that never made it to Venus. Its return to Earth isn't just a technical incident. It's also a poetic reminder that what we launch into space doesn't always stay there. Every spacecraft we send, every probe we lose control of, eventually becomes part of an invisible, orbiting graveyard. And every now and then, pieces of that history come falling back down to Earth. Kosmos 482's fall is more than just metal tumbling through the sky. It's a message from the past. A reminder that our journey to the stars is ongoing, and that even our failures have weight. These relics are the price we pay for exploring the unknown. And sometimes, those relics return to remind us that nothing in space ever truly disappears. Thank you for joining us on today's journey, from a mission meant for Venus to a spacecraft unexpectedly returning to Earth over 50 years later. If you found the story of Kosmos 482 intriguing, eye-opening, or thought-provoking, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video. Let others know about this strange chapter in the history of space exploration. You never know who else might be watching the sky, wondering what's up there, or what's about to come down. Until next time, take care and keep looking up.